There's your manifold, inlet manifold. Of course that'll slide down, but I don't want to have to.
So Brian, we have to glue that?
Yeah, we'll have to do it.
So do we need joiners?
We just need a little piece of, I might have it in my truck, but it's so cheap here, we might as well buy a little stick PVC. 1 inch. One's getting choked off, you can go to the other two and kind of choke them down a little bit to encourage more to go to that one that's starved, you know.
Brian's the master.
And it makes it a lot easier.
And then this is for the exit manifold.
And there's your discharge manifold.
Discharge manifold.
So yeah.
All right, back we go. Can it just rest right on the
Put it kind of zip tie to that.
Yeah, that works.
Because you don't want it, you know, that part's going to be, you don't want to flex on it too much, you know, just in case. So as long as those other hoses are long enough, which this one clearly is.
Right, but the other ones are going to be...
Check them. That one is.
So Brian, what are we working on today?
Just building that manifold for the AC there. It's just a three unit system. We gotta make a mess here, prime everything up, get it all glued together. That way we get even flow to each of the units.
I can dial it in to be a little bit darker, so like I can make the sky bluer. So Brian, the purpose of this is really to just segment each one of the air conditioners off into individual.
Yeah, you want even flow through each one. And this way it just, yeah, it'll even it out. You have 3/4 inch hose coming in, and then it goes to 5/8 hoses, 3 of them, one going to each unit.
And then each one of these right here will be a...
Yes, this is going to be our inlet manifold. It comes from the pump. This will make it a lot easier when you do your flushes and stuff too, because then you can isolate each unit. We're going to put valves so that you can isolate each unit. Valves here. So we just got to make sure that we got everything right before we glue it together, because once it's glued together, that's it. It does not come back apart. Yeah, thread tape will crack that.
So don't use thread tape.
If you do, some people just insist on using it. If you do, just do one wrap.
No more than one.
It makes the diameter of the nipple bigger, and I've seen it split it immediately. I've seen it split, you know, a week later. And they just split everywhere. Each one of those connections, I've seen it so many times. I show up to the boat and they're all split.
Don't worry about it. We're gonna rip all this stuff off anyway. I ruined it. So Brian, we're basically using a 4200 derivative of glue.
Yeah, it's like a 4200 kind of like caulk adhesive sealant.
You don't want to do a 52 because a 52 you're never going to get this thing apart. I mean, technically you could use 52 because you're probably not taking this apart anyway.
Well, you might get growth so bad in here that flushing it's just not super feasible, and it's nice to be able to just take this off and take a screwdriver and knock the oysters out of it, or barnacles, or whatever you may have in there. So it's nice. That's why these parts I like to do threaded, so that you do have that option. I mean, you could take that open and see in there.
Bye.
You know, you could see in there and chip out the
barnacles. You know what's funny, Brian? I have searched the internet for anybody building one of these. You're going to be the first one on here building one of these. I'm serious. There's nobody on there.
Yeah, it's this niche thing.
It is.
There's really not much. You know, when I was first learning this, I spent so much time on the phone with Dometic support. And a lot of trial and error, and showing up the boat, seeing what other people did that didn't work.
And these are all pieces you can buy at Lowe's.
Some people will say, oh, you should use Schedule 80, you know, the gray stuff, but it's not that much of a difference. These pumps have impellers. They don't build pressure. If there's blockages, they just cavitate. It's not, and this stuff's rated to, you know, whatever, 125 psi, whatever it is. But the pump, that March pump, will never build anywhere near that kind of pressure. You know, maybe 10 psi at the most. They'll just cavitate. And these are bad about splitting. When you use thread, these bushings, they'll get a little split right there and just weep. And just you'll be like, where's this water coming from? And you'll see a salt build up on it. Okay, that's it. It's got a crack in the bushing. Okay.
I'm getting a before and the after. Right, there we go. The rabbit's nest.
Yeah, a lot going on here.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Well, he labeled them.
Okay, that's good. Oh my goodness, that's a lot going on there.
So what Brian's doing is he's taking the top nipple that's coming from the pump, which is what, a 1/2 inch?
Yeah.
Originally, which is going to we're upsizing the hose, so it's going, what do we say, a 1 inch hose?
3/4.
3/4 inch hose, which will go to the new manifold, which is right here. So it'll give the pump a lot more water flow and less restriction to get to the manifold to flow through the rest of the air conditioners. Now most people don't know this, but when you do the clamps, you want to have them polar opposites. Most people will just put 2 clamps together, but you want to make sure that each nut is opposite the other nut.
Yeah, that flat spot can make a leak.
Yep. Can it just rest right on the...
Put it, kind of zip tie it to that.
Yeah, that works.
Because you don't want it, you know, that part's going to be, you don't want to flex on it too much, you know, just in case. So as long as those other hoses are long enough, which this one clearly is.
Right, but the other ones are going to be...
Check them. That one is. And I'd be like...
The heat gun is your friend.
It is.
So if you've got to put these hoses on a barb, Brian, tell them why they need a heat gun so bad.
It's just so it'll stretch around the barb. You don't want to melt it, you know, but you just soften it up a little bit. Because otherwise it's a pain in the neck getting some of these hoses on. The white hoses aren't so bad, but these hoses like this, or these white sanitation hoses, are a nightmare.
It's like putting pantyhose on a gorilla.
Yeah. Now just still not super easy to get on there, but it goes.
Any more heat? Walk us through.
Yeah, so I got the manifold in. That's your inlet. Nice gradual bend. But we didn't have a lot of the hose, so we kind of, you know, had it like kind of, you know, sideways a little bit, but that's okay. The discharge manifold's behind there. I'm going to clip all these off too, so it looks ridiculous now, right now with all these zip ties, but still got to clip all those. So this way, when you have the valves in there, you can connect your, you know, fitting right here, and you can flush each unit individually. You just cut off. Now it's going to go to the Ford only, and that'll isolate. And then once you flush that one, you can close that one, you can go to the next one. And flush that one, close that one, go to the next one, flush that one. So, easy peasy. Now your flushes are way easier. And two, if like this Ford runs real far, you know, sometimes you have a bridge unit that's got a lot of head pressure way up in the air, and you can kind of choke some of these units off. Like a unit that's right there real close and gets a lot of flow, you can kind of choke a couple of them off to encourage more flow to go to the unit that's furthest away or way up in the air, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, that's pretty much, that's it. Everything's secure, and turn it on, make sure nothing's leaking, and make sure everything's working well, and now flushes and everything moving forward are going to be a whole lot easier. So